Welcome back, Jeffrey.
Welcome. Well, thank you, and welcome to you. Good to be back with you on Lancaster Connects.
That's right. That's right. You almost blew the thank you for me welcoming you. You were like reverse welcoming.
This is what we don't rehearse around here.
This is true. This is
not
true.
surprising.
I think this is the first show that we've done where you've been virtual. I think you've been here and I've done a virtual from home one time, but I think this is the first Jeff virtual.
Or the first time for everything, right?
That's true. Yes. So, I mean, the question everybody wants to know, obviously, this is Lancaster Connects, and we're hosting from Gardner's Mattress and More and Jeffrey's home.
Why are you first naming me like I put my hand in the cookie jar when I was supposed to?
Yeah.
My mother and my wife use my full name when
right.
when I've done something bad.
I'm just excited that you're back. The banter is so much better. I mean, there is no banter when it's Ben solo. It's just Ben bumbling over his own words. There's actual banter and conversation here.
I've noticed the banterless factor in the last couple episodes. So
how is the leg? How is the leg?
The knee's doing good. You know, I'm last 2 Mondays. Well, the first Monday I was on a different plane within the universe because I would have been maybe 2 or 3 hours post surgery of the total knee replacement, which is where I've been in case you are catching up. So I was on a different plane within the universe there because those IV painkillers in the hospital are pretty fantastic.
They work pretty well, don't they?
Yes, they do. And then
did you say anything funny? Like, what any stories coming out of surgery, anything like that? Nothing like.
I had a pretty straight-laced staff there at Penn State Health Reading. Yep. It was pretty. They were a pretty straight-laced bunch. So
good. Well,
that's
good.
Yep, it was that. And then, the first 2 weeks were pretty intense as far as pain goes, swelling goes, focus on rehab, movement. It's pretty much all I did was just physical therapy, some movement, rest, keep the leg up, control the swelling. That was the bulk of the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
They get you on your legs right away, like up and at them.
Yep.
That's just incredible to me.
Yeah, I was walking around about 4 or 5 o'clock, I guess, Monday afternoon, 3 weeks ago.
Wow, with a brand new put together kneecap or knee, entire knee,
brand new, whole new knee. It's in there. Yep. I can feel it. It's kind of weird.
Oh, okay. So obviously, that it's going to feel different than your other knee, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Never thought about it that way.
Yep. Yeah, I can feel it. And there were a couple other bone issues that were taken care of, so I can feel that those are no longer present. So that's I didn't get to say goodbye. They were there for 25 years. One of them was
the bone pieces.
Yes,
the bad bone pieces.
I didn't get to say goodbye. So.
Oh man, there's a question about the pop-up from I guess our producer seeing viewing from afar. I don't know if he's on vacation. We have a substitute producer, Jim, who's fantastic, as well as Chris.
I think our producing team got together on their banter and they're just putting the screws to me. So I did not. So the comment is, because you're not watching on screen, the comment was too soon to talk about football. No, it's not, because I told anybody that asked me about how we were going to lose, the Philadelphia Eagles were going to lose in the Super Bowl, it was going to be defensively, we would lose the game and we wouldn't be able to stand up. And that's exactly what happened.
That's what happened.
I didn't get a lot of time to mourn the Super Bowl. I had to deal with the Super Bowl without any liquid courage because I wasn't allowed to drink before the surgery. In fact, for 3 full days before the surgery.
Right.
Not that I have a problem with drinking, but I just, it would have been nice to enjoy the game with a bourbon or two. Wasn't able to do that, and I had to be at the hospital at 5 a.m.
Right.
So it was a pretty much they lost. We cleaned up the little party we had, and then went to bed.
I mean, in a way, that's kind of like the best thing that
Bowl.
It was like you didn't have to dwell on it. You were put under right away and had your surgery, and then you're focusing on your knee.
Yep. Oh, he's an Eagles fan. Give him 10 more CCs so he can drown out his sorrows. I think that's what they did.
Right.
But yeah, it was that game was lost. There were 2 touchdowns. When you look at the replay, it's like, are the Eagles even on the field?
Yeah, that's true.
Kudos to the Chiefs for their scouting, because those 2 touchdowns where they just embarrassed us. We had scored on us 4 other times throughout the season, and so they knew the scheme.
Oh, wow. Okay.
To get us to bite hard, and that was 2 scores there, and then of course we had a fumble for a return touchdown, so that was 3 scores.
Yeah, that hurt.
In a game as tight as it was, that's the difference right there, and such as it is. But you know what? That problem's cured itself. Arizona can deal with those problems, and I just got to say all the forums. I told you so. All about Justin Gannon. I was lambasted all season for it in the forums. I took negative points in the forums as he collected points, and I didn't care because I just knew all along that was going to be the reason, and that was the reason.
That was the reason. Yeah, they looked like a different team in the second half. They and yeah, it's like kudos to the Chiefs, but yeah, the Eagles just looked like a different team.
Yep. So anyway, let's not restore or use all the banter that we've lost for the last few weeks. Why don't we bring our guest on? Because we could do that, but I don't think that's fair to our guest, and I think our audience wants to hear from our guest.
Hi, good afternoon.
So welcome, Frances Gibbons from the Greater Pennsylvania chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, and I'm sorry for your loss. Yeah,
it happens.
It happens. You know, I'm a Giants fan, so it happens to everyone. So yeah.
So you were rejoicing in our losing.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of crying the month before, and then my child is an Eagles fan, so you know we were cheering for the Eagles, but that did not happen. So I feel that.
Yeah.
Fran, you've got a fan here. Dawn Peters says Fran is amazing.
Hi, Dawn.
You got some peeps watching. So Fran, are you Lancaster native?
So I am not, but I will say that Lancaster is my home. So we moved here when I was 12 from Puerto Rico. So this has become my home since. And even when I went to college, I came back. Even when my parents retired to go back to the island, they came back. They live with me now. So we're Lancaster natives.
That's cool. That's cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'll kick it off, and then I'm going to do probably a little more listening than I normally would, because I can feel the pain medication kicking on. So I'm going to sit and listen more so. But
could we be in line for something funny to come out of the mouth, or
it just might happen? It just might happen. So Frances, real quick. Well, not real quick, but see, there's the problem. So why don't you tell us what is Alzheimer's and dementia? And I think there's some people that have some confusion on the two. I think they often get confused. So maybe you can share with us the differences there and how it affects families.
Absolutely. And even when I started with the association, I didn't know the difference. But dementia is not a single disease, it's an overall term. So think of heart disease. It covers a wide range of specific medical conditions which cause abnormal brain changes like memory loss. So Alzheimer's is the most common. It's the most known dementia. So think of dementia as ice cream and Alzheimer's as vanilla. So that's just a way of knowing the difference. You know, Alzheimer's is a type of dementia, and there's over 200 dementias out there.
Wow, what would be some other dementias that people would know or be familiar with?
So in the news, we've seen some information about Bruce Willis. He has frontotemporal dementia. My father has Parkinson-related dementia, so they have Parkinson's and then afterwards start to exhibit signs of dementia. There is Lewy body as well. Those are some of the most known out there.
Okay. So what is the mission then of the Alzheimer's Association?
So for us, you know, we lead the way in Alzheimer's and all other dementias. So Now, just because our name is Alzheimer's Association back here, that's not the name of our company. It's actually Alzheimer's and other related dementias. So we lead the way by accelerating global research, driving risk reduction and early detection, and then maximizing quality care and support. So that is what we're trying to do here, making sure that people understand that they're not navigating this disease by themselves.
So the Alzheimer's Association is a national organization, correct?
Correct.
And you represent a local chapter. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. So the Alzheimer's Association is a national company. So if you're looking for our main address, that's Chicago. That's our headquarters there. But here, the Greater Pennsylvania chapter of the association, we serve 59 counties from western, central, and northeastern Pennsylvania. So think of everything but Philadelphia. However, Philadelphia is the Delaware Valley chapter, and we work very closely with them. And then, so we serve 59 counties, and then we have 2 offices, one here in Harrisburg, which is where I am today, making sure that everything was going to work flawlessly. And you guys could see this beautiful sign behind me. And then we have another office in Pittsburgh, which, for over 43 years ago is one of our founding chapters of the association many, many moons ago.
Okay, wow. What are some of the ways that the Alzheimer's Association supports? So you've got the people, or I don't know if you call them patients or whatnot, with the diagnosis of Alzheimer's or dementia. And then, of course, you have the families and everybody that's supporting the person with Alzheimer's. So I'm sure you have resources to help both types of people. So maybe start with the support that you give Alzheimer's patients or people with that diagnosis.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyone who's living with the disease, and when we say that, it's not only Alzheimer's, but any form of dementia, we support them and their family members because this is a family disease. We have caregivers, we have partners that are coming in to help those families, whether it's a long-term care place that they're living at, or a home health agency, or even doctors. We're here to support them all. So the Alzheimer's Association offers free resources to millions of people dealing with Alzheimer's and other related dementias. We have a 24-hour helpline, 1-800-272-3900. It offers confidential support. These are master level clinicians that are able to help you get a plan together to help you navigate through this awful disease. We have free educational programs, whether it's the basics of Alzheimer's or the 10 signs or how to caregive for someone who's living with the disease. And then we also even have a partnership with AARP. It's called our Community Resource Finder. And you can find that on our website, where just by clicking your radius within your zip code, you can find whether it's support groups or partners that, companies that can help you with home health agencies or doctors, neurologists in your area. This is just a free resource to help you navigate the disease. That's just a little bit of all we do.
Yeah.
I know the strain, I guess is the right word, the strain that Alzheimer's, dementia, various versions of dementia, Alzheimer's included, put on the family. My grandmother has entered palliative care. So my grandparents, my maternal side of the family was from Canada. That's where I was born, moved here when I was 11. So I have family up there still. And my grandmother has entered palliative care as within the last week to 10 days. She's stopped wanting to eat. She's not drinking. There's really not a lot of faculties there at all. Mm-hmm. So I know the strain it puts on, because leading up to that, if we go back to the summer, gee whiz, it's last summer already. Mm-hmm. August, June, July, my grandfather, who then passed in August, he really tried to tough it out through his battle with cancer. and to take care of my grandmother in the home care facility they were living in. And boy, what a strain it was on him. And we had nurses. There was nursing there, obviously, but even so, it was just such a burden and strain. And I know the word like burden you don't want to use about family members, but it's just what it is. And I think people need to understand that it's okay to feel that way. But I wanted to highlight that and maybe use language like that, because when those resources are available, please use them, because it can really exacerbate other issues, other health issues in and around the person, for them and for the caregivers, as it did for my grandfather. And yeah, it was a rough time. And my grandmother, so she went to a really great facility. They had petting zoos, and her room, she gets to look over a flower garden, which she loved flowers. So it was really cool. So we're all just kind of now in that moment where we knew this day would come. We knew it would come, and that's where it's at with for my family. So yeah, it's a disease that just plain out sucks. There's just no other way to put it. That's the way
It
I'll
does.
say it.
No, it does. And one of the things when I came to the association, it'll be 7 years. You lose people twice, the minute that they get a diagnosis and then when they actually pass, because they do change. Their personality change. They might, some don't remember who you are. I mean, I can't say everyone, but people, they forget who they are. They forget who you are. And it's tolling for those individuals who are taking care of them, the caregivers and the caretakers, because, sometimes it's a loved one, it's a spouse, and they can't remember who you are. That's tough. And it hits,
Mhm.
it hits very deep. And another thing is caregiving. I mean, they don't pay you to caregive for a person, not when it's your spouse. There are some resources, but you're doing it. It's another full-time job. We know that it takes a toll. You start taking care of them and you don't take care of yourself, and that's how you get sick, or that's how you pass away. And there's a higher percentage of caregiver burnout or caregivers passing before the person living with the disease. And that's why we like to, it's all about education and letting them know that
Yeah.
they're not by themselves. Like, you're not by yourself. Please call the number. How can we get together? How can we talk through things so that people know to take care of themselves? And it's okay. It's okay to ask someone to give you respite, because if you're not alive and you're not living, how can you help someone who's living with a disease, a brain disease? You can't see it. The
Right.
person might look the same.
Yep. Yep. The mourning twice thing, that was very appropriate for my relationship with my grandmother. It began way back throughout 2020. When I would call on the phone, and naturally, because of that, the time that was, couldn't go visit, um, and that was unfortunate. But that's what it was. That was that moment in our history altogether, unfortunately. But yeah, I was there, and then so seeing her was really tough. But what I found, and maybe you can talk about this, and I know this created, I don't want to say, and I'm not trying to air dirty laundry or anything about family, but I know some family members approached engaging with my grandmother differently than others. And so I would try to approach it to where, like, I would recognize she would respond well to the little town that she grew up in called Milverton.
Hmm.
So I just started talking about Milverton because that was the town where we lived as a kid. That was the nearest town. We lived way out in the country, in farming land, and that was town. Like, that's where you went once a week to get your groceries. So I would talk about that, and she would just light right up. Um, she would light up talking about gardening, and there was a couple church hymns.
So music is one of those last things that people lose. So they know. I mean, they're scientifically, they've done research on the fact that there are constituents that are living with the disease, and they might be nonverbal, and then they hear whether it's someone playing a piano or singing a song, and they start to light up they start to hymn, they start to sing back. So music is a great example, Jeff, of what can bring someone together. But even the aspect of, you have to live in their world. You can't ask them to remember. You can't think that they can live in your world, because they live in their own world and they might not be able to remember or grasp together what they're trying to say. But giving them validation when they are speaking, and when things light them up. What does it look like to have pictures and like show pictures? I know that
It's
some
funny.
people, yeah, even
I'm going to
even
hold
that.
up.
Go ahead.
I'm going to hold up a couple pictures now because I had them actually just right here. So try to get this in frame. So there's a much younger Jeff.
And there's grandma
And
on
there's
a
my
bike.
that day we did it, she thought it was just the most funniest thing ever.
I love it.
And then throughout the years, I would show her that picture, and we would laugh really well. But I showed her that, and she just kind of grabbed it, and she looked at it, and she'd look up at me, and she'd look at it again, and then she'd just get a smile on her face, and laugh a little bit. So that was funny. And then here's a more recent one. It's always difficult when you're working with the camera. We were doing funny smiles.
And she
I
had
think
a
she wanted-
baby.
Yeah, so tell me about the baby. So tell our listeners and watchers about the babies,
So
because
they
apparently this is something that gives patients with Alzheimer's and dementia. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's Alzheimer's and dementia, or dementia.
You can just say
But
dementia, yes.
yeah,
It's just, so there are
explain that.
there are different facilities, and then different places, even home health agencies, that use, whether it's they have animals and they have dolls. Because I mean, I'm a mother. Let's think of that. Like, as they remember, their memories go back to a time where they had children, and it just brings back memories, and it livens them up. It's just, it's a nice way of getting them to calm down, whether it's petting of, I mean, I know one of our long-term cares in Lancaster has like a seal that talks, and it'll vibrate, and it's that interaction that brings back some of those memories, and it makes them feel like they're a part of something. So the babies are the same thing. So they care for the babies, they're changing the babies. It's just something that they remember from their past. And it's a great activity just to have them interact.
Yep. Yeah, I think if I'm remembering it right, because I really, being as far as away from my grandmother as I am, I really took the lead from my cousin Leanne, who I should shout out right here and now. Leanne and her family have done a fantastic job of being the caregivers, not only for my grandmother, but for my grandfather. And this has been going on, 2.5 years, really direct involvement. So thank you, Leanne and Daryl, and all their girls for helping, because I know it's not easy. And but where was I going with that? I would follow her direction. My grandmother would get a little uneasy or a little wound up. Leanne said it would be good to ask, hey, does the baby need to change? Does the baby need a diaper? Does the baby need a new blanket? And she would just immediately, it seems silly to us, but it would immediately focus her thoughts and away from whatever wasn't really a real disturbance. It would just focus it away. So
yeah, she has to take care of the baby.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Just that I got to take care of the baby.
Yeah. So maybe that's a little tip if you have somebody that you love that's in care. You take a little stuffed animal or a little baby doll and
puzzles,
see if that helps them.
Things that they like, even if you're talking about a male, if he used to do things with woodworking, what does it look like to do some kind of puzzle that it's interacting, they're using all of their senses, and it's just helping them out. So yeah, any kind of activity to keep them engaged is good.
Yeah.
Fran, I have a couple of questions. So first, how does somebody find the Alzheimer's Association? Like, are you name dropped by doctors or others that are providing this diagnosis? And then a follow-up to that, what can somebody expect the experience to be when they first make the connection to the Alzheimer's Association? Like if they're calling on the phone, what can someone expect that experience to be like? What kind of questions are they going to be asking, and how does it move forward from there?
So it's a twofold. I'll start with most of the people and constituents that call the Alzheimer's Association, they call them too late when things are towards the end, and that's like not for that preventative, which we talk about all the time, that preventative care. How do we educate people on healthy living for the brain and body so that they don't have to worry about like potentially having dementia or Alzheimer's? So most of the people that do call the association is that not the preventative care. We do work with partners and doctors and other facilities throughout our county and even the state to kind of share our 1-800 number in particular, and then our website, the ALD.org. And then if you want to get Pennsylvania, it's /GPA to get some resources, because there's educations there that you can do as well for free. All of the work that we do, referrals and everything, that is free. That is why, I do development work, and I'll talk about that later, but anything that you call for is for free. But anyone that does call, let's say that, we work with, whether it's LGH or UPMC or Penn State, and they refer someone to the Alzheimer's Association and they make that phone call. If you're calling the 1-800 number, you're getting a master level clinician who is right then and there talking about the steps and how to connect you. Is it that you need a support group? They're trying to get your zip code, trying to navigate which one's the closest one to you. Do you want it to be virtual? Do you want it to be in person? If you're looking for a neurologist, these are the neurologists that we work with, and kind of using our community resource finder to find that. But if you are actually looking for, let's say, information on our FDA approved drugs, we have that on the website, and that master level clinician can also give that information. If there's something specific to your area, so if a constituent is calling and they're like, you know what, I want to make a donation to Lancaster County, who do I talk to? Then they get my specific number and they connect to me, whether it's via email or they get, my cell phone number is pretty much, you can find it anywhere. They can send me a text message or call me. So it all depends on the level of need, but they're connected to the right individual.
Why is it that you said people find the Alzheimer's Association, and it probably extends to any sort of organization that provides help for diagnosis, is like, why do people find it too late? Like, are they maybe thinking that it's not bad enough to call, or they might be in denial or ashamed to have this diagnosis? Like, why do people delay in making that connection?
I think it's a combination of all the things that you said, but a lot of it is that stigma behind Alzheimer's. People, because it's a brain disease, you can't see it unless you're affected by it or you have a family member that's living with it. You're like, it's not going to happen to me. It's fine. That I'll talk about that when it needs to happen. And sometimes they don't know the resources that we can provide. They just think that they're not going to be able to help me. Well, if you don't call and ask, we can't provide you help, And I think mainly it's the stigma, and we're trying to do a much better job of being out in community and even connecting with individuals like yourself, besides, our health organizations, but other companies. You never know who's caregiving and who and within your company, and giving them those resources so that they know that we could potentially be someone that can help them out. So partnering with the community to do more.
Well, and I'll add this. I mean, it's our purpose at Gardeners is to help you wake up, be happy, so you can be more productive and healthier throughout the day. I mean, that is our purpose. It's pretty simple, but it is our core purpose to help our customers with. But it does transcend to health. It transcends to what Frances does and what the Alzheimer's Association does. And I'll again refer back to my grandparents. They were folks, I remember it as a kid because I would spend a lot of summertime with them. The 11 o'clock news would come on. They'd watch that until midnight. They'd go to bed, and they're up at 5 a.m. And they did that for decades. And we now know that there is direct correlation to quality and amount of sleep tied to brain function later in life and onset of dementia and dementias. And I wonder now, after all those years, is that part and parcel of what happened with my grandmother? Could that be a part of why she's on her journey that she's on? Because they're very healthy people, always ate very super well. How did that sound? They ate very super well. Come to me for more food tips.
Sorry. We'll put that on the medication.
yeah, that's on the medication. But they always ate well. They were always healthy and active. And, you would think there'd be no reason, right? And I think there's some other spiritual things going on as well around my grandparents' journey with each other and the end of their time together. But we'll save that maybe for another day. But sleep and the amount of sleep you get and the time you sleep is important. Like we talk often about matching up with the natural body rhythms and circadian rhythms of sleeping from either 4.5 hours to 9 hours of time. And within that 4.5, going 4.5 to 6 hours to 7.5 to 9 hours. So somewhere in that time range, you're best working with your body's natural mechanics, if you will, and you're not fighting against it. So 5 hours, as I just highlighted for my grandparents a minute ago, that fought against it. They weren't in that 4.5 hour window. And if you are somebody who's 4.5 hours sleeping, I don't recommend it. I'd recommend you push to 6 or 7.5. Those folks are sleeping, they're taking some naps throughout the day, right? But they were pushing against that. I just wonder now, knowing what I know now and where I'm at now in my career and in life and business, if I could rewind the clock and push them to be in that 6 hour to 7.5 hour window, what could happen? So anybody listening, if you're off those windows of time, 6 to 7.5 hours, try to go to bed a little earlier, wake up a little later, just adjust that rhythm and get in that window so you have that chance for a more restorative, better quality sleep. Anything to add to that, Frances, about what you've heard on sleep and dementias?
And just to add, sleep is essential for you to just cleanse yourself. It releases stress levels. It's good for your heart, which was good for your heart is good for your brain. So just sleep a little bit extra, probably not extending it, in the morning because then you'll be late for work, but go to bed a little bit,
Hey, I'm late for work because Jeff and Ben Frances said so.
You can't blame the mattress guy.
Right. Fran told us to stay in bed a little bit longer, and Jeff and Ben were like, we have the mattresses to make you stay in bed a little bit longer, right?
That's right. That's right. Fran, we talked about the help you provide the families and beyond. But I know a big part of the Alzheimer's Association is the research end of things. Talk a little bit about that.
So the Alzheimer's Association is the largest funder, like the largest nonprofit funder for Alzheimer's research. And our goal is to accelerate global progress for new treatments, prevention, and ultimately a cure. So one of the things that people don't understand is that we do not have a cure. We have 2 FDA approved treatments right now, but it's for the underlying biology. But because we have these 2 FDA approved medications, however, because of the CMS blocking this particular 2 FDA approved drugs, they're not accessible to all of the community. So the Alzheimer's Association right now estimates that at least 2,000 individuals ages 65 or older are transitioning from that mild dementia to Alzheimer's. And because they're not eligible for this new FDA treatment, it just gives them less time. So right now, the Alzheimer's Association and their volunteers are going straight to Washington, D.C. at the end of March to make sure that the government knows that this is a priority, because we have 2 treatments that could potentially give people more time, but they're not approved for people to use them.
So the FDA's approved it. Which organization? Which organization is standing in the way?
CMS, Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services.
See, this is Yeah, this is where a show could take a left turn.
But we'll
Time
keep
to
it
have
at that.
connection difficulties.
Right. So we'll keep it at that, Jeff. People
Yeah.
are going to be they're going to be walking up to the Capitol and wearing purple and letting them know that it's a priority. We have these 2 FDA approved treatments that can help individuals.
Yeah.
Let's get this approved by CMS.
Right, and that's a federal agency, I guess.
It is a federal agency.
CMS, yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, it's easy to connect the dots because our population is aging. There are, and dementia can affect people from about age 40 and up.
I mean, sometimes earlier.
Sometimes earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not you don't have to strain hard to connect the dots. It's a money thing.
Yep. It's not an old person's disease anymore.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Well, good for you that you'll be up there on the Capitol steps, letting them know,
Right.
giving them the business, so to say. I like it.
That's right.
I like it in a nice way, but to say, come on, this is we've got these treatments, and people, as a society, we've got to do a little better.
They should have access to them. They should have access. That's just it. If there's treatments out there that are already FDA approved, they should have access to the treatments, especially in that early stage. That just gives them more time, more time to be with us.
Yeah.
Fran, obviously you and the Alzheimer's Association can't do the good work that you do without funding and support from the community. And I know you host a ton of events, and obviously fundraising and volunteers. I know there's a lot there, but can you kind of wrap a little bit about that end of things and what is needed?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a senior director of development. So that's some of the work that I do, is bringing in funds so that we're able to do Alzheimer's care support and research. So that we want to make sure that the support groups, that 1-800 number, that the education is free to our constituents. So we talk to partners in different ways to get them to raise funds. But one of our signature programs is our Walk 10 Alzheimer's. And I am the director for the one here in Lancaster. So I encourage everyone to go to it. So it's Saturday, September 23rd. We host it at Overlook Park. Our goal this year is $250,000, and those dollars fund our mission here in Lancaster County and throughout Greater Pennsylvania. So we have 23 within our chapter, and they're all community-based events. And the Walk 10 Alzheimer, to have a team, is free. As you fundraise, there are different incentives, but this is how we're able to fund our mission, how we're able to have these FDA-approved treatments, how we're able to have support groups and education. So I encourage you guys all to join me. We're hoping to get back to what we used to have. We used to have 1,500 people come and walk with us.
Wow.
We had about 700 last year. So I'm hoping that we can get back to 1,000, and we got this. So make sure that you sign up for that as well. And then we go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, on the note of the walk, so I'm going to assume that if you sign up to walk, you would get one of those cool links where if you share it on Facebook and on Twitter and email it out to your friends or text it, easy to donate.
Easy to donate. There's from
so you've got a bunch of tools for people to
A to
rally.
Z fundraising, yes. And then you have a direct, I mean, if you scroll down, you have my information. Believe me, I will set up meetings with you. You have a plan and we'll figure it out. Tomorrow I'll have a meeting with a constituent that wants to do a cornhole tournament. How do we make that into a fundraising event? You name it. If you have the idea, we'll make it into a fundraiser. But there's very easy ways. If you're only able to give $5, that also works. So it's however little or however much you can give to the association. But this is just an awareness event. And we work with other partners in the community that are sponsors that sponsor this event as well. So it's a great event to just come and know that you're not by yourself, regardless of where you are in this journey.
Well, again, I mean, that goes to we often say about time, talent, and treasure. And talent's a new one. I've been forgetting that one. But if you don't have the opportunity to write a check or swipe a credit card to donate to a great cause, like the Alzheimer's Association, maybe you have time. And that's why I brought up the question about, having the cool fundraising toolkit and
Oh yeah.
toolbox, right? Links to make it easy. Go bother your friends, bother 10 of your friends for $5 and get $50 that way using your time, or assemble a team and bring people together using your time. I don't know that the Alzheimer's Association would so much need talent, but this is something that I've forgotten I wanted to bring up. If you do graphic design, if you're a company that does T-shirt printing, if you're a company that does like the lanyards and the pens, those talents can be given to an organization. Maybe you donate the T-shirts, maybe you donate your services for graphic design. If you have talents that you see an association like Alzheimer's Association could use, reach out. So time, talent, and treasure, really important. We do the show to help our community, because if our community is strong, our business is strong. And so that's why we do the show. We want to keep pouring back into our community to keep strengthening it and making it better. But we can't do it alone. Fran can't do it alone. So, time, talent, and treasure. Think about it that way when you hear of a great organization like Alzheimer's Association. See how you can dovetail in your day.
Absolutely. And if you want to become a volunteer, there's all kinds of ways that you can
There
help
you
us.
go.
If you want to become an advocate and end up, going down to the Capitol building to let them know, we have that opportunity. If you want to become a sponsor, we have that opportunity. If you want to become an educator and go into communities and teach them about dementias and the Alzheimer's Association, we have it all. And we can do it in English or in Spanish or in your native language. So just contact us. We will find an opportunity for you.
Yeah.
Fran, how young of a person would you take as a volunteer? Like, could a teenager volunteer and help out with the walk?
So right now we are working with two groups. So we have a Girl Scout group and we have a Boy Scout group. And I think the youngest volunteer that I've had since I've been with the association, she was 6 years old and she used to do videos for us. So if Jessica Miller is out there, her daughter was amazing in helping us with the York Walk. So I've had them as young as 6. Yeah. Oh, and my child, but they're voluntoed to help. So I mean,
right.
You're coming with.
Yeah. The kids and the teenagers are probably the social media experts. Like if you need a TikTok, they could probably get that done for you.
You are 100% correct. My kid right now follows the Alzheimer's Association's TikTok account, which I don't have one. And they're like, "Oh, Brittany's in there doing all kinds of stuff, Mom." I'm like, "I know her. She works with me." So yeah, the TikTokers, awesome. I tell you, it's a whole different generation.
Yeah, it's a different world. Yep. So wrapping up about the Alzheimer's Association, what can you share that's next for Alzheimer's Association in general, and maybe for your chapter specifically? Anything you'd like to talk about there?
So I want to talk about two things that are happening in Lancaster County specifically. So on Thursday, March 9th, we are having an Alzheimer's and Other Dementias Community Solutions for a Health Crisis. It is a program that is going to be hosted by the United Way of Lancaster, and we'll have a link that I'll be able to share with you guys afterwards if people are looking for it. But if you're looking for United Way of Lancaster, they do have their community or conversations with community, and we'll be a part of that this Thursday. And then next Thursday, March 23rd from 2 to 4 at the Dale High Leadership Center, in partnership with United Way of Lancaster and the YMCA of the Roses, we'll be hosting a community forum. This is for us to know what is it that we need to do better in the community and how can we leverage the work that we do with the community here to increase Alzheimer's and dementia related programming and services.
And those are free events?
These are both free events. So one is online and the other one is in person. But yes, they are free events. Again, I raise money so that things can be free for the association.
Yeah. And so this Thursday and the following Thursday, do you often have these sorts of things ongoing throughout the year?
So yes, we do have different events. Now in the spring, we do a couple. We will have a Hispanic Summit on June 7th. So that'll be coming up in June as well. And then our walk is in September, but we try to stagger it out and and do some educations in the process too.
Yeah, so important.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I might be putting you on the spot here, and if you don't know the answer, it's okay, because it wasn't in our questions that we send out. By the way, if you're thinking of being a guest and you think, well, I wouldn't be a good podcast guest because I don't do well on camera, we make it real easy. We kind of send you some questions to frame our dialogue. So but this one isn't on, but I'm going to put Fran on the spot anyway, because I think you're going to crush it. I think. Do you know, for every dollar that people give, what's the ratio that goes back to programming, funding, community, solutions, research? Do you know what that number is?
So it's 79% of what we raise.
Very good. Yeah, very good.
Especially through our walk especially through our Walk to End Alzheimer's program, which is our largest fundraiser. It comes back to Alzheimer's care support and research.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that means 21 cents goes to having Fran be a part of the team. It goes to the sign that got made behind you. It goes to putting on the program. 79 cents goes back to basically the patient. There's a lot of big names out there, not in the Alzheimer's world, but in other worlds, where that number is 3 cents. 3 cents goes to the patient, the person, the cause, and the rest of it goes to other stuff. And we'll say it that way, but that's a very good number. That's good.
I mean, we have to continue to push because we don't have a cure. We don't have a survivor, and it's needed, and we need to continue to push those dollars towards the research and the families and all of the education that needs to go, so that people understand that this is a family disease and we need to find a cure. So, and we'll continue to push until I hopefully don't have a job in the future, and that's fine.
Yeah, that would be the goal, right? Work yourself out of a job.
That's fine, and I'm okay with that.
What a tremendous goal that would be for everybody. One thing that you touched on about the stigma of dementia, it's something you don't see. It's something that it's hard to understand. And I just want to challenge anybody listening and watching, how quick are you to go to your doctor if you have, when you flex your hand and you have a twinge or a pull in your finger, or like me with your knee, right? You do something with your knee, or you do something with your bicep, something with a muscle, right? You're quick to go to a doctor. Well, your brain is the most powerful muscle, the most powerful organ we have in our body. And you don't see it, you don't touch it, you don't necessarily feel pain. I don't think the brain has actual pain receptors in it. I think it's nerves all around it. But think about it that way. How quick are you to go? How quick are you to go to WebMD with the slightest twinge or tweak? But maybe you notice a family member cognitively who's like, they kind of slip. It seems like there's a gear that slips. There's a question they trip up on. Don't ignore those signs. Right, Fran? Like, really, really think about your brain as that muscle that you should care the most about.
Yeah, have that conversation. Even if you're worried about it, they have to do so many testings before they rule that it's actually dementia. But if you're able to get it early enough, and hopefully CMS is able to make their mind and let us have that FDA approved medication that could help someone who just got diagnosed early on, and giving them more time. So it's okay to have that conversation, even if it's not a comfortable one, and then go from there, because it also takes about 4 to 6 months to get to get in front of a neurologist. So you have to have those conversations early.
Yeah. Well, Fran, thank you for taking time and
absolutely
talking with us about all things dementia and Alzheimer's. Appreciate it. I know I learned quite a bit, so thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's here to, that's how we have to educate people. That's how we have a conversation, and we share our resources.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yep. Well, I think it's time for our connection cocktail. Ben, do you want to lead that off?
Yeah, sure. No drinks, but I don't know if we got our graphic coming on the screen. If not, we've got question number 1, Fran.
Go for
it. And you said you're prepared. You had to think hard on these questions.
I did.
What's your favorite thing to do in Lancaster?
I love to go out hiking. So we have 2 dogs, and we got to take them out and about. And then even with my kid, when they were young, we would be out and about. So I love hiking, and Lancaster has some great places to hike.
Yeah. Can you share one place you like to go?
Um, is it Willow Grove? I think it's the park. It's in between. It's been a very long time. See, I didn't even get the name. Now I feel like a failure.
No, you're not.
No. I also like to go down to the Conestoga River. So
Oh,
like
beautiful. Yeah.
there's parks down there. So yeah.
Tons of hiking down there. Well,
There's
thank
plenty
you.
of, and I live near a rail trail. Ephrata Rail Trail.
Oh,
Oh
that's
my
true.
goodness.
Yeah.
Man, get it together.
Yep. Yep. Ephrata to Lidditz, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. Yep. Beautiful trail.
So when you're not hiking and enjoying the trails, hopefully you can remember the name, but what's your favorite annual event that you go to?
Uh, there are so many in Lancaster County. So I actually have a list because I can't just say one place. So I love Lidditz Fire and Ice.
That just wrapped up. Yep.
That's it. St. Patty's Day is my favorite day, so I cannot wait until next Friday. It'll be fun. Celebrate Lancaster, Extra Give, Santa Stumble, you name it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yep. That. Yeah. It truly is hard to narrow it down to just one thing. So
Yes.
yeah, those are all great events, and most of them have been shared on the show before. So you have family coming into town. You have friends you bring into town. What part of Lancaster do you like to impart on them? Either culture or place you like to take them, or something you like to show off. Is there something you like to do there?
So I'm gonna say two. One, Decades, because who doesn't love to go to Decades? And then I love my friend Tony works there, so I'm giving him a shout out. Yay, Decades! Yeah, yay, Decades. The other is the distilleries that we have in Lancaster County.
Okay.
Sorry, Jeff and I talked about this. We love bourbon, so we went to Stolt and Wolf on Friday, and we brought friends over, and then we headed over to Bull's Head to get some food. Then afterwards, so it all depends
Very
where
nice.
in Lancaster County, I have
Right.
my little spots, but yeah.
Well, this is connection cocktail time. You can talk about bourbon and
Yeah.
distilleries. I mean that's all fair game. Yep.
Yeah, and we stay close to the home because we live in Ephrata, but I
Yeah.
also have to give a shout out to Thistlefinch because I love their black pepper whiskey. So
Ooh, that does sound good.
I'm going to have to try that one.
Dr.
haven't had that
Pepper, Dr. Pepper and black pepper
Oh,
whiskey, and it is delicious. So
wow. Okay. Didn't expect to get a drink tip, but there it is. That
We're going to go
does-
for it. I
like
like it.
myself some Dr. Pepper.
yeah,
Good.
I like it. Well, Fran, appreciate the drink tip. Appreciate the tips on everything that you're doing with the Alzheimer's Association. This has been a lot of fun. So thank you. Thank you.
for
Thank
having
you.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. And Ben, did you have anything else to add? I think that's
I did not. I think
Okay.
we are done with our guest.
all right. Very good. Fran, thank you so much. If you want to donate or learn more about the walk coming up in September, go to alz.org/PA. That'll get you to Fran's page, and you'll be able to see everything that's going on local to us here in this region, and you'll be able to connect. And please do. Please consider giving back in that time, talent, or treasure, one of those three silos, or two, or all three. But in one of those ways, that'd be really great. That's why we do the show, to help our community. So, Fran, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. You guys have a nice day.
Thanks, friend.
All right.
I'm glad she shared, all the differences between Alzheimer's, dementia. One of our listeners mentioned that, we've all known people with Alzheimer's or dementia. Parkinson's is another one, and sometimes you don't know all the differences and the root causes, and what can both happen to somebody with those diagnoses, and then what can be done, like getting connected to the Alzheimer's Association. So that was, I thought, very educational.
Yep, 100% it was. It was. So if you want to be a guest on the show, we didn't get to talk about this yet, but if you want to be a guest, a great guest like Fran, go to I was going to say I met Fran in a bar, but that might not sound good for either of us. But that's where we did meet. But it was a complete
Right.
networking event. But either way, whether we meet in a bar or we meet this way, you go to lancasterconnects.com/guest, and you will get the ball rolling, and we'll get you scheduled for a great show.
You have a sleep better tip, Jeff?
You know, I'm looking at that here on my notes, and I'm a bad podcaster today. I'm totally caught off guard.
So
But
go ahead.
What I can say about sleeping better is, I guess it would be committing to a sleep routine, because my routine is out the window. Yeah, and I'm feeling the effects of it after a few weeks now. So I guess that is my sleep better tip, is committing to a sleep routine, going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time. It's very hard to catch up. There's such a thing called sleep debt. I am indebted to lack of sleep 100% right now, paying an interest rate of like 500%. It's pretty terrible. So yeah, I guess that would be it. Stick to a routine, right? And you'll want to do that, because you just feel better, even on the weekends, getting up at the same time, like not sleeping in. You can just throw yourself off so quickly. And so that would be my sleep better tip off the cuff.
Yep. I think you're back in your bedroom, right? Like, you don't have to be on the first floor.
Yes, I am.
That's had to have been a good feeling.
It was very good.
Back in the bed.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing that. So testimonial time. We've got a handwritten testimonial here. Piece of paper here. We give a little packet of information, little thank you gift, feedback form, incentive to come back and get sheets, pillows, protectors, that sort of thing. But we always get these handwritten testimonial forms back, and we had one come in just over the last week here, and we've got hundreds. We might even be bordering on 1,000 or more of these handwritten forms. We've even got so many, we've compiled them into a book here that you can have for free and get other people's testimonials about how we've helped them wake up happy. So that's actually what this testimonial is about, waking up happy. It's not just a tagline on the wall that we help people wake up happy. It is a reality. So this person, they were asked a question about their salesperson. In this case, it was Drew. And I thought this feedback was great. They said, Drew is the type of salesperson you wish existed more. Not even mattress salesperson or whatever, just the type of salesperson you wished existed more. Very informative, never pushes you into a decision. And we believe he legitimately wanted us to be happy. So I thought that was really great feedback. Sometimes the feedback is, about the mattress. It's about, they were treated nicely and all of that. But, a lot of people are afraid of salespeople. They think that salespeople are just out to line their own pockets and, what is in their best interest. But all of the staff here at Gardeners is legitimately interested in the health, well-being, and ultimately sleep and waking up happy of our customers. So we appreciated Brad's words, and of course appreciate our crew who's probably listening on the other side of the wall there. So that's our testimonial for today.
Yep, very good.
It's not just a sticker on the wall. It's something we stand by.
Well, I think as we wrap up, Ben, we'd be remiss Fran touched on something in the events that she likes to go to in the Santa Stumble. Yep. This weekend, we had a past guest of the show, former employee of the show, a friend, an amazing community member, citizen here in Lancaster, passed away. Pete Ruggieri, unfortunately, passed away. I believe it was Saturday night. Is that right?
Yeah, fairly suddenly.
I don't want to
really
speak. Yeah, it's out publicly. This was shared publicly already. I don't know all the details. I'm aware of some of what Pete had going on here in the last couple weeks, but I'm not going to speak to all of that. But we do know, he unfortunately did pass away Saturday evening, Saturday afternoon at some point, and obviously very sad because Pete was an amazing person. Always made us laugh. Just a great guy. Made us better owners, better employers. There's no doubt in my mind.
100%.
Made our team better. He was somebody that could, in the topic of people being afraid of salespeople, nobody was afraid of Pete. He would have you, he'd have you laughing within a minute or two. That's all.
He's probably got hundreds of these testimonial forms in those binders referencing his name.
Yep, he does. It's kind of cool that we kept them all these years, huh? That we don't just throw them away. You know?
That's right. That's right.
So it's a living testament to Pete and what he added to our business for our customers, but he really added just a lot to the Lancaster community. He was the one that created the Lancaster Santa Stumble.
Yeah.
You know, when we look at what happened this weekend as well with the chicken barbecue, or maybe that was last week, the big Sertoma Lancaster chicken barbecue, that is not going to happen this summer. This is why we do the show, to raise awareness in our community, to give back to our community, to put shine and light on great people doing great things. And I'll say it again: time, talent, and treasure. Amy, I agree. Pete was a great person and had a huge impact locally. Folks, if we love our community, we gotta be about and do for our community. And Pete was one of those people.
Yeah.
So just really sad he's not going to be here anymore.
Yeah, that was pretty shocking news. You know, a lot of people that knew Pete, or only knew him as an online figure, because really he was online and very involved in social media, and he had a couple websites that he ran that were satirical. If you just looked at some of his words, maybe you thought maybe he wasn't that. This might not sound right, but like that he didn't care. He cared immensely, like truly, like gonna get choked up. Like he cared about Lancaster County. So, it's shocking that he's not here and won't see him again. But we found Pete at a time where he needed us and we needed him, and happy to have known him. And it's a sad thing.
Yep, it was, or it is. It is a sad thing. Andrew's commenting about the Sertoma barbecue kickoff shows. I mean, these things happen because in our community, because people like us, people like Pete, they answer that call. If not me, then who? I think that's the way that quote goes. Pete would be over my shoulder right now, making fun of me if he could. But
he would. That was the great thing about Pete. He'd have anybody laughing within like 10 seconds. He knew exactly what to say, and he could make anybody laugh. I don't care how hard of an exterior you had. He had you laughing or smiling within minutes. Yep. That was just Pete.
Pete gave us Crowpocalypse. We actually did an ad. We'll have to find that and maybe get that out here this week. But we literally had a Ben character in the newspaper running with an umbrella from birds pooping. Because if you know the local area, Park City in the fall always has crows, or is it in the spring? I forget. When do they come through?
November through like January. Yeah. But I think now they go over to the Fruitville Pike Center. They're not so much here anymore. The last
good. They deserve it more than we do. That would be Pete. Pete would figure out what they deserve to be punished for, and that's where the crows now go.
That's right.
But he gave us that, and I mean, just so many great things on a funny side, on a professional side, on a personal side. Yep. He was just a really great guy, and hopefully his brothers in the Masons can carry on some of the good stuff he did there. We'll certainly carry on the not taking ourselves too seriously and having fun in our day and making this purchase that you do with us fun as well, because he certainly showed us and our team a lot of that. So
absolutely.
Yep. It was very sad news, but that's we were happy to have had time with Pete for sure.
Yep.
On that level that we did. So
yep.
Well, I think that's a good time to wrap it up. Don't you?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yep.
Are we going to spin the prize wheel today? We have a lot of
Oh yeah,
a lot of commenters. I think now Chris can't win and Cast Ahead cannot win.
Right.
So, but
we'll
got some
we'll
great
respin
commenters
if
on
they
there.
win.
There you go.
In light of Pete's memory, we should be raffling off silly prizes like you do at the Santa Stumble.
That's right. That's right. Maybe a Ruggieri for mayor sticker with a raptor chasing a donkey and a elephant, right?
Yep. Well, Amy, congratulations. You're our winner. Amy's one of our folks that tune in often. Amy, thank you. Thank you for your kind words throughout the show. And thanks for being a fan. And you won, so you get a choice of that wonderful little travel pillow combo pack and blanket and or the Less Snore, More Cuddle drinkware. So you want one of those stickers, huh? We'll have to find them.
I saw one. It's attached to a cabinet, and it's probably been there for 12 years. I don't think that's coming off of the cabinet.
Well, if you can scrape it off, Amy, when you come here, it's yours.
It's even got a signature on it, which it's just so Pete-like. Wouldn't just put the sticker on.
You can take a photo of that, Amy. So we're keeping it if it's got a signature on it.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, congrats, Amy. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in this week. Ben, it's great to be back with you.
Yeah.
And
looking forward to you in the flesh at some point here soon.
That's right. We'll see you next week on Lancaster Connects. Take care.